It is mid-January and it is winter in my Vermont garden in Zone 5. So I can't get outside and do all of the gardening things I love to do. So I've made a list of things that I like to do during winter that just kind of lift my spirits. It is a gardener's guide to surviving the freezing winter, if you will. One is get outside. So this is not gardening outside, just enjoy being outside. Go for a walk, go walk around your property. Look at what your winter interest might be and maybe think about what you can add next year. Play in the snow. If you have kids, they love to play in the snow, and even though I don't love the process of getting everybody outside, it is fun once we're out there. So whether or not you have kids, if you get a lot of snow, go out, build a snow person, make snow angels, sled if you have a hill. Sledding is actually very, very fun. Number 2 is a big one, and that is planning and prepping for the garden year. So this can involve lots of different things, but basically just thinking about your past garden year and what you want to do this coming garden year. January is a great time of dreaming about the coming garden season. I like to watch other gardening YouTube channels. I just love to watch all the videos from like spring through fall and gardening shows and look at books and seed catalogs. There's a lot of inspiration out there. I also love to look back over my own garden to get my ideas going and think about what I might want to do differently or what I loved and want to keep the same. So a lot of planning going on. I work on my garden journal. I clean out and prep my seed starting spaces. I inventory my seeds and order new seeds. I also order new plants at this time of year. So there's a lot of garden planning and prep to do, and that can really take up a lot of your time during winter. You might not even need these other ideas, but I do have more. Number 3 is caring for houseplants and winter bulbs. So I've been acquiring more houseplants. I love taking care of them. They do get a little more attention in the winter than in summer. And I do like to plant up some bulbs. I planted them up a little late this year. So I do have an amaryllis this year, and it's just starting to bloom. It's behind me there. It's very pretty. And I have some paper whites I potted up as well, and they're in front of me, and they're maybe this big right now. So it'll be a couple weeks at least until we see blooms on them, but that's okay. Number 4 is feeding and watching your overwintering birds. So we have a lot of the birds here migrate, like my red-winged blackbirds and my barn swallows. They're gone for the winter, and I'll see them again in the spring, and I will be very happy to greet them when the warmer weather comes. But I do have some birds that stick around. So this year I put out a bird feeder, and I actually put it right outside my bedroom window so I can watch them from the coziness of my bedroom. And I have some blue jays that come every day, as well as a small flock of what I think are finches. I may need some help identifying them, but I absolutely love watching them. They usually come in the morning and they make me happy. Number 5 is taking up or working on an indoor hobby. I have several of these. I think they're great for gardeners since a lot of us are pretty creative. So things like knitting and crocheting are fantastic. I actually crocheted 4 baby bonnets this year for the holidays. I made 2 for my youngest 2 kids. They're not really babies, they're more like toddler preschool bonnets for that age, but I made baby bonnets for my nieces who are both 1, and oh, they're so cute. I really enjoyed making them as well. I also do some sewing, I do some painting. In my garden journal, I've been painting a bit this year, so I will link the part 1 of my garden journal set up here. You can see some of the painting I do. I'm not a professional. I love to paint for fun, and I did a lot more of it before I had kids, and so as they get older, I might get back into that a little bit more. For right now, the garden journal is mainly where I do some painting. And cooking can also be a fun hobby. I tend to make more creative baked things in the winter. I did try this winter making a tarte aux pommes, which is a French apple tart with frangipan. It's like a crust and frangipan and apples, and they did it as one of the technical challenges on this most recent season of the Great British Baking Show, and somehow I had it in my head to make it, so I made that. I've also made an Italian apple cake. I liked that a bit better, but they were fun to make. Number 6 is to work on house projects that you may have neglected during the gardening season. I do this quite a bit. I just say house projects. I just make a long list to do during winter, and it's generally too long of a list to get to during the winter, but I usually get something done. So far, I've worked on fixing some shelves and putting up some new shelves in areas, and I am hoping that I can kind of clean out and reorganize my pantry, as well as work on our playroom. I have some, it's kind of been partially done since we moved in, so I have some work I want to do in there. Hopefully at least those major things will get done before the rush of spring gardening happens. 7 is if you grow your own food, now is the perfect time to enjoy it. So if you have canned jams and jellies, eat them, make stuff with them. If you have like some storage veggies, like I have some potatoes left, cook with those. It's just such a delight to me to be able to cook and make things with things that I've grown. Number 8 is something I should do more of, and that is sleep. It is a dark time of year, it's a cold time of year, we are animals, and we, especially if we're gardeners, you know, we go with the seasons a bit, right? You've got to learn to work with the seasons as a gardener, and this is a time of rest. And I know I just listed a bunch of things that aren't really that restful. Instead of doing all that, you could just rest more. You could sleep, or just sleep and then do the other things. Number 9, and this is for later in the winter, is you can start your seeds. I debated putting it in here, but I do start some seeds during what I consider winter. Of course, you want to pay attention to your last frost and time everything correctly. You don't want to start all your seeds like super early now in January and then have them sitting under grow lights. They're not gonna be super happy. So you got to kind of look at the different plants and your timing. And I have other videos where I talk about this, and I will do a separate video specifically on frost dates. But starting seeds is something that we can do in late winter. That is my list of things that you can do to survive the freezing cold winter as a gardener. Let me know if you do any of them in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you've gotten this far in the video. And if you want some garden videos to watch for inspiration, or just to relax and feel what it was like in spring and summer, I've got a bunch of videos for you to watch here. Bye, friends.